family. If you are new to my YouTube channel, my name is Lorraine Masia Mponera. Welcome to my first live YouTube um, video. So, today is the 8th of March 2024, International Women's Day. I've just come back a few minutes ago from an event that was organized here where I live to celebrate International Women's Day 2024. So I was asked to be one of the speakers at the event, and every speaker was given like 30 minutes. So we didn't have much time to cover everything. So this video, I just wanna run through what I had prepared to share. So that's what we will do now. So I opened with a poem, and this poem I'm reading from my new book. Sorry, my new book. Now I sing. I Was Not Born a Sad Poet is a different book. It's my first book, but I read from Now I Sing, which is my newest addition under my belt. How does that look like? How does that sound? Amazing. So this poem is called Double Grand. The scar on my left knee comes from a childhood accident in the fields. Grandma stopped all her work, put me on her back, and walked barefoot for 5 kilometers to the nearest hospital. She did not stop or complain. My welfare was the only thing on her mind. She could not let her grandchild go untreated. She was the one feeling the pain. She never left me alone again. I still feel her hand holding mine with love wherever I go. Then I introduced myself and why I read this poem. So why I read this poem is because I this is International Women's Day. I'm celebrating my grandmother and because I was brought up by my grandmother, and so I just wanna remember for her love and the inspiration and how influential she has had on my life. So I also explained to people that I'm not going to be talking over them for the whole 30 minutes. It is a discussion as well. So I asked people that can you imagine a moment where you are sat with someone who has inspired you, someone who has influenced your life so much, a woman that excuse me, that you value and appreciate, and you want um, to reflect on them today on International Women's Day. So as they imagine sitting side by side in the same space with their inspirational figure, I read the following poem, and also my invitation was what are you hearing? What is coming up for you, as well as telling them in advance that after I read it, they will be sharing their thoughts with a person sitting next to them. So now I'm going to read this poem that I read. This poem is called I Am Becoming. So it's also from my second book, Now I Sing. Okay. I am becoming my grandmother. I think and act like her, stopping with a load of wood on her head or a pail of water on her arm, multitasking and taking everything in her stride. I now love berekete dish as well as walking barefoot, feeling the earth beneath my feet. I can see myself constantly digging for this or for that, with a headscarf on my head, always thinking of what to do next to make sure the family is fed and the children are ready for school. I am becoming my grandmother, supporting kids I'm not related to, educating and advising strangers like I have known them forever, having opinions about everything and everyone. I am really becoming her. She who shared all her possessions and in the end was left with little, if any, but never cared. You cannot take anything beyond the graveyard, she would say. Yes, I am becoming my grandma, filled with pride and wisdom, never begging, even if my tummy rumbles with hunger. Forever a princess who faced hills, droughts, and famine with a stoic face. This too shall pass. I am becoming my grandmother, knowing that nothing lasts forever, and that at the end of it all, these majestic mountains shall one day become molehills, and she who laughs now shall cry tomorrow. It is okay for me to be my grandmother. Thank you. And so I asked people, as I said before, what did you hear? What came up with you? And can you, for those who want to, share with the person sitting next to you your thoughts? Then I invited everyone who was willing to share what came up for them to the bigger group, which also went very well, I think, because a lot of people shared a lot. To some people it was their mothers, to some people it was indeed their grandmothers, but majority of the people, they were like, I'm walking in my mother's footstep. I can see my mother. Our home was open, door was for everyone. My mother, my mother, my mother. So here we go. Okay, so even myself, this poem, I, 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 I talk about my grandmother, the wisdom, the empowerment that I learned from her. My grandmother was someone who never went to school. She was uneducated, but she was a very keen observer of life. And so she shared her life lessons with me. She empowered me. Now that I'm getting older, I also realize that my lessons are also for my granddaughter, my grandchildren. I have a granddaughter, by the way. And so I will share my wisdom with my grandchildren as their grandmother. It is funny though how times change and yet still the same. It's a cycle of life. Yeah? Yes. So I had one ask for them, for the people, and for everyone that you are watching now live on YouTube. My question and my ask is, how can you pass your wisdom to young people wherever you are, because we see a lot of stories where young people seem to be lacking somebody in their lives. So how can you be the grandmother that I'm praising? Can you be the mother that you are praising? Can you be the woman that inspired you, that influenced you to this child? So I left everyone to go and reflect on that. Of course, as we know, a lot of women are already doing a lot, but there is always room for improvement, I guess. Okay, so we didn't get, after hearing from the people, we didn't get to me to read my final poem. So this is why I had to come live here so that I could finish the way I had planned my my 30 minutes. Okay, so then I wanted to end on this, and this poem I just wrote it last night when I was trying to put something together for the program today. So it's in raw form. This poem is called I Remember. I remember grandma smiling under the hot sun, sweat streaming down her face, working hard to provide for her grandchildren. The sun, the rain, the wind never troubled her. They were her accomplices. I remember grandma, her morning, midday, and night prayers for us, asking God to bless us and never to forsake us. It's her silent tears and the heavy breathing in the night that I remember most. I remember her with love and affection, the only person who loved me and never expected anything in return. Now I look for grandma and I see her in the sky, her twinkling eyes in the form of stars, reminding me of her final words. Go into the world, my child. You are a star. Thank you, everyone, and thank you for joining me online.